Hey everybody, today I'm going to be bringing you my brutal story in the final expense business. Like, comment, subscribe to my channel if you find value in any of the videos that I bring. I have a ton of content here on final expense telesales. That's what we do exclusively. I used to sell in the field, now I do it all over the phone. I'm going to give you a little bit of a backstory on me first, and then we will get into my career in the final expense industry. So, I started in sales in 2015, May of 2015. I was getting out of a halfway house. I had a really, really bad opiate addiction for several years, and I was one of the lucky people to get through that. If you know, or if you yourself or know a family member who have struggled with that and are currently struggling with that, please reach out to me or have them reach out to me. I'd love to help because there is a better way out there. But I learned a lot from my addiction. I think it helped me really push through the stuff that I experience now in business. It gave me a new bottom to push off of that I told myself I would never get into again. And nothing that I go through today could really ever be as bad as it was then. Being homeless and stealing money from people and just always having to live with drugs in my system. It was really, really bad. Got myself into some trouble, but I'm here now, and I'm glad I'm able to help you bring this content to you guys. I was in a meeting in our halfway house in the morning, and it was career day. We were going to go find jobs. We had all been there for 9 months. I hadn't left in 9 months. I voluntarily checked myself in. I knew I had to get better. It was the only way I was going to get better. And everyone's like, hey, what are we going to get for a job? What are we going to get for a job? And I said, I'm going to go get a career. And I remember people kind of laughed. Or they were like, oh, get a career. But I was 100% serious, and I went, and that's exactly what I did. I got a career in sales. I got a sales job selling cars. I worked at a place called Quirk Mazda in Massachusetts. A few people there had a huge impact on my life. My general manager, Rachel, Mr. Quirk, who owns the dealerships, Kevin Valdez, one of my good friends, Robinson Daniel, and Taisha Bogie. They're really good friends of mine. They all had a huge impact on my life. And they helped me see that I could do more, right? And I started selling cars. My first couple months were really rough. If I get emotional here, I'm sorry. It's just it's an important part of my life. First couple months were really tough. I got through it, though, and I learned the sales game. It was full commission. I thought I was going to get evicted, all this other stuff, but I didn't. I learned the sales game, got good at selling cars, got promoted to manager, moved down to Miami, Florida. Started selling cars down here. One of my clients that I sold a car to sold life insurance. And he was like, hey, dude, you should sell life insurance. You'd be good at it. The funny thing was, though, usually like as agents, right, we get these recruiting pitches all the time. And I didn't even know like that the guy was recruiting me, but he really wasn't, because he was like, oh, I work for this company, but you should go work for this other company. So it was kind of like a backwards pitch, right? Like he just got me into the industry because he thought I could do well. So I had an interview with New York Life. I actually had 3 interviews. You have 3 interviews with them before they hire you. I was interviewed by a guy named Tom Kroc, really good guy. He passed away recently, but awesome dude. He was a managing partner or senior partner or whatever. Essentially, it's a recruiter and sales manager at New York Life. And he got me in. And, my first 6 months was a struggle. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I only sold because I got lucky. I just worked. Put in the effort. I went and door knocked on people's doors, called friends and family members, worked orphan clients they had who were clients of of New York Life who didn't have agents there anymore that were representing them. I went to different fairs and festivals and set up tables for people to come buy life insurance. And I made sales, but I said, there's got to be a better way to this. And I wanted to advertise online. I wanted to learn how to do marketing online, social media, SEO, stuff like that. And New York Life didn't permit that because they sell securities, right? Like mutual funds and stuff like that. It was totally understandable, right? It's heavily regulated. And they're like, no, you can't really run ads like that for life insurance representing us. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to find something else then. And I went independent. Selling final expense. I met a guy named Jeremy Covatana. I invested thousands of dollars in Grant Cardone Facebook groups, in training courses. I invested a few $1,000s in a Billie Jean is Marketing course. Granted, I didn't have this money, guys. I was putting it all on a credit card. I was investing in myself and my business. It was a big transition from car business to this because I made good money selling cars, and I knew I could make more in insurance. But my first couple of years, I took a haircut financially. So in those Facebook groups, I met a guy, Jeremy Covatana, and he helped me learn how to run Facebook ads online for Final Expense for Final Expense life insurance. So I ran those, and I remember when I set up the ads, I was like, God damn! The first day I woke up in the morning, and I was like, I had like 100 leads. I was like, man, I was so happy. Because it was like I could see the light. Like I was like, man, there's got to be a way for me to totally crush this with marketing. And when I had those leads coming in, I was like, wow, I got a way to do this. And for like 6 months after that, I sold independently, face to face. I was selling face to face, and I just got sick of driving around to no-show appointments and dealing with that stuff. So I remember one day I was like, dude, I want to do this over the phone. And a lot of the guys I worked with were like, oh, it can't be sold over the phone. You know, the old timers at New York Life were like, life insurance is a personal interaction, has to be done face to face, all this stuff. So that's kind of how I was like brought up into the business, right? Like, can't sell insurance on the phone. It's got to be personalized. So I had a client who was like an hour drive. And I had just driven to someone's house, and it was a no-show. They actually were leaving the driveway as I pulled in. And I was like, what the heck, man? Just tell me that you don't want to meet me, be honest. So I called this woman, and I said, ma'am, I would love to help you with this stuff, and I'm going to give you the information on the policy now. And if you want it, then cool, I'll come by to do the application, and if not, then I'll just stay home. She said, okay, cool. So I was like, wow, maybe they do want to do it on the phone. So I brought her through the sales presentation. I just kind of brought her through the same presentation I would as if I was face-to-face, through the normal steps of the sales process that I learned in Cardone University. And she hit me with an objection, and I forget what it was, and I gave her some corny rebuttal that I learned in Cardone University, and it worked. And she was like, wow, no one's ever put it to me that way. I am going to do this. So I drove to her house, I did the application. And then I said, hey, maybe I don't have to drive to people's houses to do the applications. Maybe I can just work with insurance carriers that I can do the application over the phone, and I won't have to go through all that trouble. So that's what I did. I started selling insurance carriers that took tele apps. I remember my first day selling on the phone 100%. I sold a few policies with Americo and Liberty Banker, 2 with Americo, 1 with Liberty Banker's Life. And I made 3 sales in one day. I was like, dude, I just made 3 sales in one day, and it took me 5 hours. There's no way I could have done that. I would have had to get super lucky doing that in the field, especially in Florida, because of how far people live from each other. Florida's a commuter state, so it's a far drive. Pretty much everywhere you go, 40 minutes. So I was ecstatic, and I just kept rolling with it on the phone. And I knew how to market, so I had all these leads coming in. I had more leads coming in than I could possibly sell myself. So I decided to bring on a couple people to help. I brought on a good friend of mine, Brian, and my brother had helped us. Brian got licensed and was selling with me, so Brian and I were selling. And we were in my second bedroom of my apartment. Okay, I was investing a lot of money. I was barely getting by, paying my bills. It was myself and Brian and my brother. We were on picnic tables in my second bedroom, and we were just, working. And it was pretty cool. It was literally the garage version of Amazon's come up. I'm not comparing myself to Amazon, but it was kind of he was in the garage and I was in my second bedroom. I didn't have a garage. And there was nothing in there except some picnic tables and computers, and we were getting rolling. I went to Best Buy, put everything on a credit card, and I just invested in my business. I asked Grant Cardone at a luncheon that I paid a few $1,000s to have with him and a bunch of other people. Like, Grant, I got a good idea, man. I just don't have any money. And he's like, do you have credit cards? He's like, yeah. He's like, max them out. It's like, whatever. So I did it. And the whole time doing that, I didn't have any fears because I was so focused on why I wanted to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish and what I wanted for myself and my family and to retire my father and to give people in my life something that I didn't have. I don't know. I was never scared of investing the money and going into debt. So after a few months in my second bedroom, we decided to move into an office. My fiance, she had a medical office for ultrasounds, and I kind of we just put up 2 pieces of drywall and cordoned off this small area, and I bought some cubicles. So there was like 7 spaces in there. We were packed in like sardines. There were wires coming out of the walls. It was like the most ghetto place that you could be in. It was super cool though, and I just remember from the ads I was running, we had a ton of inbound calls coming in for life insurance. And I had a guy join up with us, Griffin Henderson. Awesome guy. I've been super blessed with the people that I brought in at first, so the people that started with me at first. Like seriously, like their loyalty and commitment has been absolutely incredible. And I'd say the foundation of the business is with them. I'll get into more of that in a little bit, but so we were selling. I started putting job posts on Indeed and ZipRecruiter and stuff like that, Craigslist, to have people come in and work. And, I started going through the agents coming and going. And literally all they had to do was sit there and answer calls. Like this was a few years ago when Facebook ads were way cheaper than they are now. We had so many inbound calls from Facebook. It was insane. Like we couldn't answer them. I'm not even joking. We would have 7 or 8 calls coming in at the same time while we're on presentations. So we're like, yeah, you want life insurance? Yeah, do you want life insurance? I have people calling me right now who want life insurance. Do you want life insurance? And that's like literally how it was. I mean, we were just boom, 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 cranking out policies. We had some really good production. I was investing in what I needed to grow. I was like, man, this is it. I'm going to blow up. And a snake can only get as big as its cage. So I'm going to move to a bigger office. So we moved upstairs. I got this big office. I got like way over my head, more spaces than I needed or could actually fill, right? I could fit like 30-something people in that office or 40 people. And I didn't realize the recruiting aspect of it, that I got so lucky with the first few people I brought on that they stayed with me. And I realized, hey, dude, if you want one person, you're going to go through like 50 to get one that's going to stick around and make a career out of life insurance, right? Because it's hard, full commission, it's a challenge. And I was continually going into debt. I was reinvesting all my profits that I made. I gave my agents raises, and I was paying them commissions, obviously. So we moved into a larger office. I was paying for some coaching and from guidance from other sources that honestly I didn't really need to pay for. Make sure you get advice from the right people as well if you decide to to pay for coaching and mentoring. Once you have accomplished exactly what you want to accomplish. But I was in the red my first year heavy. Now, when I moved up into that big office, it was like the worst timing ever. What happened was Facebook ad costs like quadrupled. So leads went from like $2 each to like 10. They're $2 to $4 each to like 8 to 15. And commission stayed the same to my agent. So what that did is it tripled the cost per acquisition. Okay, so it tripled the amount of money that I had to pay essentially to get each deal. I had people coming and going. I had some people who churned business. I was getting destroyed with chargebacks. I was actually over $100,000 in the hole on one credit card. And this is coming from a guy who was making $80,000 to $100,000 a year selling cars, and I hadn't made that much for a year. So like I was super in the red, man, and like I thought I was gonna have to go declare bankruptcy like all the time. I was barely making it by, barely paying my bills, paying credit cards with credit card cash advances, paying my guys with cash advances. It was bad, but it wasn't bad. And like I had a guy who works with Cody Askins, a good friend of mine named Landon McCarter. I hope he doesn't mind me talking about this, but he reached out to me one day because he kind of knew the situation, and he was like, "Dude, like, how do you stay level-headed?" Because like if I was in your position, I would be, I don't even know what I would do. Like I would, because he knew like how much in the hole I was. And I was like, I don't know, man. Like I want to succeed so bad. Like success is not, there is no other option for me except to make this work. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this work, right? So I just kept, reinvesting in the business. After being addicted to heroin for years and in and out of jail and institutions and all that stuff, like, I don't know, I was alive. I felt like I was living on borrowed time. Like I feel like my time here, I've almost cheated for. There are plenty of people who went through what I did who aren't alive anymore. So I kind of always felt like, dude, like God gave me this time to, or higher power, whatever you want to call it, gave me this time to do great things for myself, my family, and there's a reason why I'm still alive and I'm still here. And none of those sacrifices ever really fazed me. They didn't bother me. It just didn't. I don't know. It's just I had a different perspective on things, and I knew that insurance was my meal ticket. Insurance was my way out to help people, and for me to grow, retire my father. That's a big thing for me, and to be able to give my future family like everything that they want and deserve. So after that, and this is all in a span of like a year and a half, 2 years. About a year. Actually, not even a year and a half, like a year. All this stuff from when I started in my second bedroom, got the smaller office, got the bigger office. All this stuff was in a matter of a year. I put $15,000 down to move into the office. I spent another $5,000 on cubicles, another $3,000 on computers, thousands of dollars a week in ad spend on leads, like a ridiculous amount of ad spend. Mark Zuckerberg, he definitely had a few martinis on me. So I was in a tough spot, and I rigged it wrong. Like I didn't have the system set up right. I was getting crazy chargebacks on top of this all. I was advancing too much money out, and I didn't have anything to protect against chargebacks. I didn't really know the gravity of it because I was still in my first year. So imagine doing all this in like your first full year in final expense. Okay, most people by the end of their first year, they're like, "Yeah, dude, I'm starting to finally write some policies." I had like a few, like 7-8 people. We were ripping out like 40,000-50,000 AP a week. So it was about 30 to 40,000 AP per week. And it was awesome. My commission levels were going up. I almost signed a 7-year non-compete, which I'm glad I didn't. And then a guy reached out to me from Senior Life Services. Sorry, my little dog is down here. Come on, Leia. A guy reached out to me from Senior Life Services, a guy named James Whitley. He changed my life. James is part of Senior Life Services. He's a chief marketing officer. His designation has changed a few times, but he's essentially the man. And Rory Doherty owns Senior Life Services. Grant Doherty is his son. I met James. I was in a Facebook group, and I was posting about these inbound calls I had for life insurance ads. And James was like, dude, this guy's been doing this like a year, and he's getting all these inbound calls. I've been at this for 10 years, and like we're just figuring out how to get the inbound call thing down. Like, what's going on? We get to meet. So James and I met before actually like I got into the tough situation, and we didn't I don't know, it was weird. Like he didn't try to recruit me, and I just helped him how I could. I drove up to Vero Beach. I helped them with like learning Facebook ads, and he was helping me with some stuff. And we just had like a relationship where we helped each other, and we didn't really like ask for anything in return. Like he wasn't relying me on for anything, and I wasn't really relying on him for anything in particular. But we both helped each other a lot. And I was in a tough spot. I told him, I'm like, dude, I'm in a really tough spot. And he was like, well, dude, like, I want us to all work together. I think there's something that we can do to help each other. So like I joined up, and I decided to work. I decided to work with SLS, Senior Life Services. I had a meeting with Rory Doherty, and we kind of just really hit it off. And it was kind of just up from there. I in my first year with SLS, I was able to pay down all of the credit card debt I have, pay off. They canceled my writing numbers and took my renewals and all the stuff with the chargebacks. But I was able to recoup my losses, and I put my agents in a more stable position to where they would have a career to keep working towards. So like I don't know, maybe it sounds a little light, but you guys got to realize that all this happened within like a year and a half. The last 3 years of my life have been an insane journey. I'm now on my third full year with Senior Life Services, my fourth full year in the final expense industry. So really, like the whole point of that is just to give you guys some direction. Like if you're in a position where you feel like you're struggling in the business, everyone feels like that sometimes. Okay, if you're in a position where you want to quit, everyone feels like that sometimes. I could have quit for a year straight. But I didn't. And I'm on a path to not only helping myself make more money than I have ever made, but helping other people make more money than they've ever made in this industry. I will never give up, and I want you guys to have that same attitude and mentality as well, that this industry can give you and help you accomplish your dreams. You got to make sure you're taking advice from the right people. You got to make sure you're working in the right system. one thing I learned was that commission level does not equal how much money you're going to make. And I don't care how many times people can argue it otherwise. Your commission percentage does not equal your paycheck. It does not equal net income at the end of the year. So I had to swallow that pill and realize, like, hey, I may have some adjustments maybe with my commission structure, but I'm going to make more money, and I did. And so, like, don't give up, right? That's like the biggest thing. Insurance has a pretty high turnover rate. So if you want to build a team and build an agency, you're going to have to go through a ton of people to find the right people. Network, find people that are like-minded with you, find people that would want to grow with you and grow at, and that believe in your vision. A mistake that I've made, I'm just looking down here, a huge mistake I made when building my team is that I tried to be a manager. I didn't know the difference between a manager and a leader. So there's a huge difference between a manager and a leader. A leader influences people. A manager tells them what to do. And when you're stressed out and you have a lot of money on the line and you have people who you feel like you want it more than them, it's easy to slip into that manager role and start barking orders and telling people what to do and kind of being a jerk. But I want you guys to always remember that if you go to build a team and you go to build an organization, people need a leader, especially in a commission-based position. It's almost like volunteering, right? Because we're here, we're putting in our time, and we're not guaranteed a paycheck unless we make sales. So even when you make sales, it could get declined, right? So people need a leader. People need someone who's going to influence them. In order for them to buy into your vision, they have to buy into you first, okay? So I've gone through a lot of people. I've lost a lot of really good people who had a lot of potential. I think that I could have had that run differently if maybe I had focused on being a better leader instead of focusing on being a manager. All right, so that's a tip for me. Another tip is invest as much money invest more money than you think you possibly can. So by investing into you, I mean invest into training. Okay, it's not just about leads. Invest into training. Invest into leads, invest into marketing, invest into yourself, grow your brand, grow your business. Okay, this is a business that you're in. Always be trying to grow and never give up. Push, 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 push. And also take time for the people that are important to you in your life, because it's hard for you to be a leader in other relationships if you're not a good leader in your relationships at home and with your family and those who are really close to you. So I hope that gave you a little bit of inspiration there. This final expense agent, I will go on to make several $100,000 this next year, and I'm going to help other people make their first six figures. And my tip to you to get to that is to never give up. Don't be afraid. We're conditioned in this world to want to give up, settle for mediocrity. I was called a fool. I was called an idiot. I've been hated on and all this other stuff, and I've been applauded too. But what you'll find is once you start to make it, the people who doubted you come around asking questions about how to do it. So I hope this helps you guys. If anybody's out there struggling, reach out to me. I'd love to help anybody here. And I know this video wasn't more like tips and tricks for selling final expense, but I feel like sometimes like a heartfelt message of people from someone who's like kind of gone through the struggles big time here. Keep in mind, I've done this in just a few years. Like most people to get to where I am have been in the business over a decade, and I've done it a lot faster, and we're on a really big trajectory. Also, too, another tip when you're building out your business, make sure you build leaders, not just salespeople. Build leaders, not just salespeople, okay? Because it gets to a point where you can only handle so much yourself. So if you have 40 agents reporting to you directly who are actively writing policies, you're going to go crazy, right? You don't want to get yourself in that situation. Make sure you build it out. So you build out other teams of people and help ration the responsibility out. You're going to buy yourself more time. You're actually going to make more money. So if someone can do what you can do at like 80% capability, then start to train someone else to do it. Give overrides. Be generous with overrides. Pay people maybe more than they need. Hire an assistant to help. Don't be afraid to try something either, and make quick commitments, make quick decisions, and just don't be afraid to keep pushing, because your life depends on it, and you can make it happen in this business. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like, comment, subscribe if you have any questions or just you found value in this. I hope I was able to help some of you out. Thank you.